Let's shift gears now. The remnants of last week's unrest in the KZN community of Phoenix have now been removed from the streets, but the racial tensions underpinning that violence still linger. 20 people in the area have been killed, but residents there say the figure is much higher. Community leaders in the Zwelisha informal settlements are calling for intervention in what ANC PEC member Gwazim Shengu has actually described as a genocide. So how was the situation handled, and could it have been better? Let's bring in political analyst now, Protas Madlala, who joins us via our telephone line. Protas, great to chat to you, sir. Thanks very much indeed for making time. I wonder, a week gone by since the unrest has somewhat subsided, what do you think are the questions we ought to be asking about what took place in Phoenix?
Well, certainly, Phoenix is an urban township within Durban. It's about 15 minutes drive from the center of Durban. So it's not like a rural area out there in the hinterland, which is not accessible, which is difficult to access. So I think one would have expected by this time to, after so many killings have been experienced or reported in Phoenix, that certainly quite a number of people should be behind bars, because the execution apparently, although it was done in the dark, some of it was done openly in public places, like main roads.
You know, but depending on who you speak to, Indian and black communities in the past have actually always been able to live side by side. I mean, it's a varying opinion, I'll admit that much. But if that was to be accepted as the reality, where do you think things went wrong?
Well, I think I agree with your statement. You know, Phoenix, in terms of urban apartheid spatial planning, it's largely a formerly exclusively Indian township. And bordering it, next to it, are the informal settlements, which are largely and exclusively inhabited by poor African communities who earn their living by working, by providing manual labor as domestics, cleaners or security guards, or even shop assistants within the commercial sector of clinics. So there is that daily interaction between the three communities, albeit it's one directional. It's from the African community into the formerly Indian township. It's not the other way around or both ways, unfortunately. So historically, there has been simmering tension, not only in that area. I think largely in Durban, there has been simmering tensions between the Indians and the Africans.
And do you think we got here because those tensions have been allowed to bubble under for too long without any meaningful intervention? I mean, we've seen some political parties as well as members of government going to that community given the attention it's now receiving. But from your perspective, is it a little too late?
Well, it has been swept under the carpet for too long, unfortunately. But I think we know the government, how it has failed us as South Africans in the last 2 weeks, when people were looting all over the country with impunity. So I don't expect much from the government to do in regard to quelling the racial tensions in Phoenix. I would really like to take it a step further and say, I've read in the last 2 days or so some statements made by faith-based leaders from the Indian community, Anglican, Hindu faith, and other faiths, condemning this tension and killings. I think perhaps what we need more civil society to step in and filling that government, that gap which the government is failing to do, to step in, because I think we as normal communities, from both sides, I think we stand more to lose than the government losing from this simmering tension. We need to identify leaders from Wamashu, Phoenix, Pambai, Amawoti, and also from Phoenix to come together and take over the project and say, please, Phoenix people, identify people those who are responsible for these brutal murders.
Lives have been lost. We're told 5 people have been arrested. The impression I'm getting from you is that despite all of that, it's not a lost situation. There's still room for significant reconciliation to take place.
Absolutely, there's room. And also also, perhaps, I think I need to, for the benefit of your viewers, I think I need to also to mention a bit of a distortion here. Phoenix, I think you know as journalists that Durban closed its mortuary, which was in Gate Street, and it was transferred to Phoenix. And there might be, for someone who doesn't know this, it might look like all the additional numbers that have been reported by the national government of people found to be unidentified bodies in Phoenix, that they are all coming from Phoenix. Phoenix has become a district mortuary for the whole of Durban. So some of the victims or the unidentified bodies might be coming from other looting sites or areas where lootings were taking place in Durban, or some stampede site somewhere in Durban.
Important perspective that. I wonder whether you think what is taking place in Phoenix is a microcosm for, I guess, a much larger macro problem in our country. In other words, to what extent is the situation unfolding in Phoenix a sign of the lack of social cohesion in other parts of the country, or is that a bit of a stretch?
No, I think you are correct. You know, South Africa is very good at developing these cliches, which I don't buy in, like Rainbow Nation, social cohesion. I almost spit at those cliches because they seem to paper over the simmering, the reality of the matter and fool us, and that we, after 1994, we have accepted one another as human beings. I think we are far from over from that.
Well, Protas Madlala,
we really fool ourselves.
Thanks very much indeed. Great to get your take on this issue, especially given, I guess, your experience of how the country even got here. Protas Madlala speaking to us there in his capacity as a political analyst.